All right.
We weren't.
Now that I'm yawning. Yay. Can you hear them?
A little bit.
I got a sound blanket that you can't see it. It's right here. But I got a sound blanket. I don't know how much sound it's deadening, but I guess we'll find
I
out.
thought the blanket made sound.
I thought you wrapped the kids in it.
Kind of sounds like it, doesn't it?
I hear them. It's our authentic background soundtrack.
Authentic, yeah. Bringing you the sounds of fatherhood on the Making Geeks podcast. Podcast for makers, dads, and loud screaming in the background. New book smell.
I think I'm ready when you guys are.
I'm good.
Okay, I'm good. He's giant too. We're ready.
That was perfect.
See if you can wear my hat. No.
Almost.
It'd take a little coordination, but yeah.
Oh, thanks a lot, Skype.
The fact it's gone.
Microsoft.
I can still kind of. All right. You set?
I'm set.
Yep.
What's up, Internet, and Happy New Year. You're listening to the Making Geeks podcast, a podcast for makers, families, and geeks. It's 2022.
Happy 2022.
Happy New Year.
Is it just me, or does I don't know, the number doesn't seem as significant anymore. I don't know if I'm so jaded from the last 2 years that, because I remember when it was 2020, I was excited.
Me too.
2021, everything's
It's
gonna be
the
better.
future.
Don't have to deal with the number 2020 anymore.
Yeah.
And now 2022 is here. I'm like, okay, it just it's another day. The excitement for things, and I mean, things are better than what they were at one time, but things seem so kind of like stagnant that the excitement isn't there like it was before. At least for me.
It's so funny. I saw this meme that was like 2020 and then 2020 and then one in brackets, kind of like you copy and paste.
Mm-hmm.
How if you have a file with the same name, it's 1 and 2. And it's like 2020 bracket 1, 2020 bracket 2. I was like, that is funny. That's funny. That's smart funny. I like that.
And I recognize it's kind of like a pessimistic view because things are better, but we're still dealing with things that we thought we'd be done with by now. But it is a new year. How are you guys doing? How are your holidays?
Really well. We did good. Got a good haul for Christmas. Got some Kerbal swag and some Jurassic Park toys. I got like a little play set. It's got the what do you call it? The truck from Jurassic Park and the T-Rex, and it like bends over and like chomps on the ceiling glass, and the glass like collapses like on the kid. It's pretty great. It'll go up on a shelf somewhere. And then also got like the Hydra Stomper action figure from What If. So I got like toys for Christmas. It was great. It's fantastic. I'm not ashamed.
It's
to
so
admit it.
funny. Other podcasts with men on them, they'd be like, "Yeah, I got a
I got beard oil.
muffler, rotor, whatever. I don't know the names for things. On here, we're like, yeah, I got this Jurassic Park toy, and it goes, and we're all like, yeah, that's awesome.
And a Space Shuttle Discovery Lego set. So I mean, I can't complain.
That's definitely a win.
Yes.
Sean, you and I got a similar present.
We did, and I think that we got like the pivotal maker Lego set.
Everybody got this. I didn't even know about
I
it.
know.
Yeah,
You didn't
it's
know
so
about
funny.
it.
No.
I'm shocked.
What is
I
it?
think it's probably Target's fault. I'm gonna blame Target because it was one of those sets that it's an ideas set, which they're becoming more and more popular. But before you had to buy them online, but Target has started stocking some of the Lego ideas that are created by just individuals, and then the Lego has an entire website with all of these sets that people create that people can vote on. And if these creations get enough votes, then they get put into production and you can buy them. And it's fantastic. It is my favorite set I've ever built. It was Medieval Blacksmith. It was so cool.
Your favorite set ever.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely the biggest set I've ever done. And about 4 hours in, I started thinking, I don't know if I ever want to do a set this large again. But, I had a couple realizations. I don't do a whole lot of Lego because it's kind of my son's thing, and I always feel kind of weird buying it for myself when he's kind of the bigger Lego collector. I know. I still have a little bit of that.
We don't talk like that here.
I know. But I had this interesting realization when doing it. The set is over 1,200 pieces, or it's a pretty big set. Actually, no, it's over 2,000 pieces.
Yeah.
But a large number of those pieces are really, really, really small. And I don't exactly have the most delicate hands, and my hands felt like they were cramping a little bit, starting to do like a lot of the small pieces. But the realization I had is, getting older, and maybe like even 60s and 70s, I was thinking this would be a great thing as I'm getting older for dexterity and, just, I guess, eyesight and kind of keeping a certain type of mental acuity for how things go together. Now, that might be entirely self-serving, where I'm perfectly like justifying buying Lego for myself. I can imagine my grandkids coming over and like, don't mess with Grandpa's Legos, whatever, whatever the situation is.
It's for my brain.
Yeah.
My brain blocks.
My mental health. No, but I kind of love that idea, and it is a phenomenal set. It is more creative in the way that these pieces go together and the way they create these different shapes than I ever could have imagined. And what's really cool, there's a light up block for the forge, and it has like some bellows that you push in and it lights up that area. It's amazing. Not only that, even more amazing than the Lego set is that my wife bought it for me for Christmas. That's not something that my wife would usually buy, but she saw how much I liked it. She saw the maker connection, and yeah, she surprised the hell out of me.
That is so cool.
And she actually did it twice. She gave me another gift for Christmas that I was not expecting. You guys have seen the advertisements for Squatch soap, I'm sure, on YouTube feeds. She bought me the Star Wars branded one that has all the different soaps listed or set in there, and
Oh yeah,
it's something that is completely out of what she would normally get, and it surprised me too. I think it's cool. I almost don't want to use it because it's almost like this gift collector set, but she's expecting for me to smell like the Force, I guess.
Like a Wookiee, like a Wookiee's ass.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Here in our house, I mean, I know what age I am, and it's kind of funny that it's like I still get Lego sets, but that's kind of a Christmas tradition for us. Like Legos is definitely a Christmas tradition because almost every year I get one really big set, and of course the kids get like little sets and whatnot. But it's become one of those things where to have Christmas without Legos seems weird. So I know that the Legos will always be part of our Christmas, regardless of how old we are.
How about your New Year's? You guys do anything special for that?
My New Year's was perfect. We didn't do anything.
Nice.
When my wife and I were dating, and up until like a couple of years, probably until we had kids, my in-laws would throw a huge New Year's Eve party. And, the number of years that we had those parties, that would range between 50 people and 150 people, just depending on the year and other things that were going on. And they were okay. They were fun. But I actually just like staying home on New Year's, especially because of all the fireworks in the area. And, I have to bring my dog inside, and it's a little bit more of an intimate time with the family. But, yeah.
Yeah. I live outside of city limits, so they don't have restrictions on fireworks here. So everybody was lighting them off. And it was so noisy. I'm glad I don't have a dog, because it'd be going crazy.
Well, I live in city limits, and they treat it like there's no laws. So, we have Disneyland quality fireworks shows every 4th of July and New Year's. It's pretty bad.
Are you within viewing distance of Anaheim?
No,
No?
I'm like 35 miles or so away.
But I mean, you're not like up on an incline a little bit, so if you looked out at night, you could see the...
No, I wouldn't have a clear field of view. There's hills and stuff in the way.
Okay. I didn't know if you were like at the top of one hill and overlook the valley, so to speak.
I'd have to be on top of a mountain to see that view.
Mm.
Although when I was a kid, I lived in Anaheim. We used to sit on the roof every night and watch the fireworks. So,
That's cool.
yep. Long time ago.
Like Steamboat Willie kind of time?
Sure.
Speaking of time, I went to go pick up my kids from school one day early, and their school is broken down into sections, and you have to walk through each section, which is a different grade. And in each section, there's a huge sign that says like class of whatever. And I looked, and it said class of 2032, and I was like, what? And it made me think, like, it didn't seem right. I'm like, no. Wait, really? Oh my gosh, yeah. They're the class of 2032. And that kind of messed with my mind a little bit. More so than like it being 2022 or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not ready for that. Nope.
What's weird is my son is class of 2027.
Really? Man. It's having little kids that are not getting so little anymore. My daughter's 9, and she already smells like a teenager. I'm like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be growing up this quick this yet. You've still got a few years. Just slow down. You'll be okay.
Sounds like the neighbors are restless there, Donovan.
Oh my gosh, sounds in the background. Feels so bad because I'm like, I can mute myself, and they won't hear the screaming in the background.
It's true.
Like, kids do not like bedtime. But we went to Barnes & Noble because I read to them every night before bed. And we've been reading a book called The Wing Feather Saga. You guys ever heard of that? It's okay if you haven't.
No.
If you had little kids, you would probably heard of it. But we just got done with book 1 at dinner tonight. And so we all ran to Barnes & Noble and got book 2. And I thought that would calm them for their bedtime routine, but I guess not.
Yeah, for anybody interested, the soundtrack you're hearing on this tonight's podcast will be available on Spotify.
Right. I can't imagine, because there's so many videos out there of like ambiance. I can't imagine anybody wanting.
If there's anybody left listening tonight, we enjoy your company. Hope you're having a good night. Hope you stick around for the rest of the podcast.
Yep. So with a new year comes usually like New Year's resolutions. I've never liked the idea of the term resolution. I kind of like goals or things that you hope to achieve. So we had talked about before we started recording, maybe doing a discussion like goals of things we want to accomplish this year or things that maybe we're looking forward to. And I guess that's the typical way to start out the new year.
Yeah. Why break tradition now?
Yeah. This is probably our fifth time doing it, I think.
Something like that. Yeah, I think so.
It's kind of interesting when we start counting it that way.
I don't want to count it that way. Let's see. Well, I'll start by talking about what I tried to squeeze into the end of last year. So Sean and I had like a little last minute thing we wanted to try to like accomplish individually and like sort of hold each other to, which we didn't do a very good job of.
In the last 5 years, we haven't done a pretty good job.
No, we haven't. Maybe this will be our year, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this will be a year.
So I was like, well, I got 2 days left to break out the welder, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get that thing. So I ordered some like clothing, like on Amazon. I got like the shirt, like and like the gloves. I even got like spats, like if I wanted to do it in tennis shoes, so like little embers don't get in my tennis shoes and catch my feet on fire. So I look like Scrooge McDuck or something. But and then so I'm getting all that stuff together, and then of course the weather is like not cooperating. It turns rainy and stuff, and I couldn't find some of the stuff that I needed at the last minute because I waited to the last minute. And of course, you know, once I get everything together, what am I going to weld? I don't have any projects or raw materials of anything to speak of, and I don't want to go to Lowe's and just buy random scraps. So I ended up ordering at the beginning of this year, Wesley Treat, who has been on the podcast several times. If you're not familiar with his YouTube channel, please check him out. He's an awesome fabricator and artist. He sells this kit where you can build like a little hot dog grill. He sells two of them. One of them is like a flat pack steel one that you can like assemble. It looks like almost like a toaster kind of shape, but you can put like charcoal briquettes in it. And it's got like grates on the top. And you just set 2 hot dogs on it, just to grill 2 hot dogs. That's like the form factor size. And if you didn't want one that disassembles, like after you barbecue them or whatever, or after your picnic, you can order one that is intended to be welded as like a starter welding project. So I ordered one of those, and he just shipped it out to me today. So when I get that, I'm gonna have a project. I'm gonna do like a little video on it of me. As long as, you know, if I upload it, then you'll know I didn't like melt my retinas, so that's good. And so yeah, that's my first goal. I'd love to do it by the end of this month. That would be
Did
fantastic.
you open the box?
Hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. All right. I'm buying.
I remember that conversation before Christmas.
Yes.
It's like, just open the box.
No.
You don't have to do anything with it. Just open the box so you can say.
But aren't you going to first have to make the table to hold the stuff that the welding box is holding?
I looked into that, and some people, I considered making the welding table. They said it's a good starter project. I could do that.
That's not quite what I meant, though. But.
No, yeah. I don't need any more excuses. They said you could do it on a concrete floor. I don't really want to do it inside since it's a flux core welder. There's a lot of sparks and flying melty bits and stuff. It's like not the cleanest way to weld. And then you have to grind the stuff afterwards with a like disc grinder or whatnot. So it's not very conducive to the inside. So as long as it warms up on a certain day, then I'll be able to get out there and do it. So now I'm just going to blame the weather. If that doesn't, come in my favor in the next month, then I don't know what to tell you. I guess I won't be welding this year.
Is the concrete pad right outside those doors where you have the welder, is that large enough to possibly use for you?
I think so. I think it would probably work there. Yeah, as a starter area. The one hesitancy I have about it, since I'm going to be grinding stuff, I don't want to do it there because like metal shards and stuff, the kids run around sometimes barefoot, so that might be kind of hazardous. But there's a spot underneath our deck that's got it's like a little kennel that the previous owner put in for their dogs, and it's got gravel. And I think that would be good because no one really goes under there, as long as I don't fling sparks up into the rafters of the underside of my deck. But we need to tear it down this year anyways. We're building a new one, so either way, I guess it would work.
That'd be interesting. So in that same vein, for things that we talked about doing before the end of the year, I think, well, there's 2 different things I talked about. One, I think, was the pinball thing, which I didn't get to. But what I did get to was starting the All Queens chess. And by start, I have it modeled in Fusion, is what I did. So at least now I have the measurements. I have a better plan going forward of how I'm going to construct it. And tomorrow I'm drawing up the Illustrator files that I'll be able to use for the actual laser. And I'm going to eventually put that on my Patreon for anybody else that might want to do a similar design. I'm saying that early now.
That's going to be cool. I'm excited to see that one. Which part are you lasering? Out of curiosity.
All of it.
Oh, you're lasering all of it.
Yeah. So a month or two ago, I made a completely laser cut slide top box. So I'm taking that same philosophy and applying it to this, except I have some additional ways that I'm going to make it look a little bit more decorative that will kind of fit the overall theme of the Queen Maleficent. And that's kind of what I had spent a lot of time on, was figuring out how to make it kind of fit an overall theme, because I could have just made a box, in a single day and called it done. I really didn't want to do that. If I'm going to do it, and if it's worth doing, I might as well do something a little bit more unique. At least that's what I'm trying to go for.
That's cool.
And Donovan, you just put out a video recently, right?
I did. It didn't come out before Christmas, which I wanted it to, but it is what it is. But it was my holiday video for this year, because last year I did Hyrule Hot Chocolate, which is Breath of the Wild inspired hot chocolate recipe, and this year I took the recipe and made hot chocolate bombs, which is funny because I made a video that I was going to put out before the new year, but it was not very good. And so I reshot the whole video and put out the version that I put out on Tuesday, I think, to try and get my momentum back for putting out videos on a more regular basis. So I really enjoyed it. It was fun. I completely forgot 2 ingredients to shoot, adding 2 ingredients to it. Felt so terrible. I added the notes in the description, but there's 2 vital ingredients that make up the flavor of the hot chocolate bomb. But it's cool. There's a couple people that said they're going to try it. I'm excited to see how it works out for them, because it's a relatively easy process. Although when I do it again, I'm not going to do the shell with the stuff on the inside. I'm just gonna mix up a batch of flavored chocolate and make it really thick, not as much milk, so that I can then cast it and have a bomb. Because oh my gosh, a shell, my kids kept breaking the bombs because they would melt so fast, because apparently I was using the wrong kind of chocolate. I was using baking chocolate, which is different than molding chocolate, which is different than sculpting chocolate, and I was using the not mold and shape with chocolate. And so as I was trying to shape it and everything, it would start to melt. So I put it in the freezer. Every time I put it in the freezer, my kids would go in the freezer and break it. So I had to make 4 different bombs till finally in the end, I got one, for my shots for the video. But regardless, we had fun with it. It was really cool. And the process of painting chocolate was fun. It makes me really appreciate those Instagram or TikTok, whatever videos you see of people sculpting and molding chocolate into different shapes and whatnot, because I'm like, wow, it looks super easy on the video, but when you try it yourself, it's not so easy.
Did YouTube initially try to demonetize you for the word bomb?
No, well, no. I did have a worry because Cocoa Bomb is trademarked, and apparently that will get you in a lot of trouble. But Hot Chocolate Bomb is not. And so I specifically said Hot Chocolate Bomb, and since I had Legend of Zelda, I mean, it didn't flag me for anything yet. So there's not a lot of views on it, but it's performing better than my last 10 videos have. So it's good. It's progress. And like I said, momentum. My big thing for this year is just getting back momentum, and that was kind of the start of it.
Yeah, as long as you're not going to end up on a no-fly list somewhere, then I'll consider that a win, right?
I know, because I don't want to drive. I'm so excited for WorkbenchCon, though. I've got now that the hot chocolate video is done, I'm starting on my Book Nook series. I'm making 4 different Book Nooks. The first one is Link's Awakening Book Nook. I'm also making a Arcane Book Nook and a Minecraft Book Nook and a Lo-Fi Girl Book Nook. And so those are going to be my next 4 videos that are going to come out in the next 4 weeks, because they're simple enough projects that I can get them done relatively quickly, as long as I can figure out the LED wiring and programming and whatnot. And then I've got a kind of big super secret project that I'm working on that I am super excited about, that I can't talk about right now. But it's going to be super cool. It is super cool. I'll just say that. Be excited. You don't know what it is or when it's coming out, but when it does, you're going to be like, whoa, that's cool. Because it is super cool. I'm super excited for it. But I am knee deep in momentum at the moment.
Sounds sticky.
That's gross.
Yeah.
I've been working on some. Well, you're sort of relating your next projects to like diorama sort of stuff. I've been coming along pretty well on my diorama that I'm working on, which fits inside of a snow globe. If you've following my Instagram posts or in our Discord, I've been posting some little sneak peeks of different parts. And it's my first opportunity and exposure to working with fiber optics for lighting models and stuff. And of course, my camera is not working well for this, so you're gonna have to trust me. I wired, I guess you call it wiring. I routed 14 strands of fiber optic into a 3-inch tall Iron Man figurine, which is not as easy as it sounds. Involving drills and files and
Yeah, far more patience than I.
lots of lots of patience. Yeah,
Very tiny drill bits.
very tiny drill bits. So I didn't use the smallest ones that I ordered. Those things were like needle sized, really tiny. But it's been really fun. It's not as intimidating as I thought. You just glue the strand. It's like it's made so it's plastic. They're not glass. At least the ones that I ordered. They're on Amazon. They shipped and arrived at my house in one day, which is ridiculous. If that hadn't been the case, I probably wouldn't have investigated this, because this is sort of like a last minute thing. I was right on the end, like home stretch of this project, and of course, I wake up one morning, I'm like, ooh, LEDs. Like what? Of course, why didn't I already think about that? Adding LEDs makes any project easier and infinitely more complex. Why not do it? So I investigate all the different possibilities, and I'm a follower or a member of this like Starship model making Facebook group that they use fiber optics a ton for like building the Starship Enterprise, like all the little windows on the Enterprise. Like you think of like a scale model that you would build on like on a tabletop size or desk.
Gosh.
Yeah, they light each one of those with the
Individual fiber optics.
Yeah, they're like thousands. It's insane. And they do like Death Stars and like Star Destroyers, and like it's crazy. So I figure 14 strands is pretty reasonable.
It might be crazy, but it's also the best solution, because
It
one
is.
light
Yeah,
can light a huge number of those strands all at the same time, just because of the way that the light moves through those.
yeah, and they come in.
I mean,
yeah.
imagine if those all had to be individual lights.
Oh yeah, that would have been impossible. And they come in different diameters too. This is like 0.75 millimeter diameter, which is, I guess, middle of the road. And the thicker that you get them, the less flexible they are. Obviously, they don't bend as much, so you have to take that into consideration. So it's been great. I lit Tony Stark. He's got a lot of little incidental like lights on his suit, which were fun. And it's funny because I started with Thanos's glove with the 6 lights, one for each stone. And that was 6 strands. That was kind of a pain in the butt to route through him. I had to basically disassemble the entire character, which they're not meant to be disassembled. I had to literally cut both arms off, cut one of his legs off at the knees. So you know how that's like. And
Yes.
so I had to like route the fibers. It was time consuming, but I got those done. I'm like, well, if I did those 5, I'm like looking at Tony Stark the entire time. Like, well, people are going to expect at least like his central, arc reactor to be lit up. Well, if I do that, I might as well do the other things. And I was sort of like guilting myself into doing it. Of course, it would have been easier had I not done this, but the results so far have been really promising and really fun, and not as stressful or hard as I thought they would be. So the next stage, I am working on adding sound to this thing, which I'll probably hopefully resolve in the next week, and I'll have a finished object, hopefully by the end of the week, maybe next week or something like that.
Okay, I have to ask.
Yes.
You were saying that you want to take this to Workbench Con or just have it done before Workbench Con?
Both. I would love to have the video for it out and and it's portable enough. So it's a large snow globe size object. It's a snow globe. For those listening, it's a snow globe. I think I've talked about it before on here, but I've been somewhat like keeping the cards to my chest for this because it was such a cool idea. I didn't want anybody to take it. Not that anybody listens to me to take any of my ideas anyway. It's a snow globe for those that are interested. I take the white particles out and replaced all the Christmas theme stuff with Thanos holding his glove like victoriously, and then Tony Stark bending down holding half of a Peter Parker. It's during that scene where he gets dusted and he's partially blown away, and it's that moment where he dies. And so instead of the white particles whipping around in the snow globe, they're going to be gray and black. So it's a little morbid, but I'm sort of leaning into that, and it's such a perfect idea that it sort of like goes against expectations of what a snow globe should be, which I like that from just kind of a poetic and like jabbing kind of angle. And then also it's Marvel stuff, and it involves 3D printing for the heads and model making and painting and electronics, and it like scratches all the itches for me. So it's
checks all the boxes
it
for
does.
Shareable content too.
Yes. And
That one
Diorama
project is almost like your maker resume.
yeah, it almost is. I don't have any. I might have some laser stuff for it, and maybe some cricket vinyl cutting. So it's like a nice amalgamation of skill sets to make this thing, and I would love to bring it and show you guys when I'm done, if it works out. So fingers crossed.
Okay, the reason why I asked is because in 7 weeks,
Yeah.
we are all going to be in the same place, same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're going to have that done before Workbench Con.
Yes.
I want to have my book nooks and secret projects done before Workbench Con. Sean, what are you going to have done before Workbench Con?
This is good. Let's not give ourselves a year to do some shit. Let's do it within 7 weeks.
Well, since I'm already actively working on something, I'm going to say that the All Queen's chess will be done
There you go.
before Workbench Con.
I want to
And
play.
you
I
can
want
bring
to
it to
play it.
Workbench Con. We can totally play it.
Yes.
Actually, yeah, it's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll do that.
That's great.
Yeah, we'll do that. I also have something else. Actually, I have a couple things cooking already for the new year. I think it was like New Year's Day. I was contacted by. I already have a sponsorship for the year through Evolution Tools. They contacted me and wanted to do a deal, so I did a deal. So they sent me out one of their saws. I'll be using that to build some cabinets in my garage. I potentially have another deal coming up. You guys know about it, but I'm not ready to say it publicly yet, just because it's still kind of cooking. But it involves lasers, so that also makes me happy.
Yep.
So, some good things happening already this early in the year.
That is awesome.
Yep.
I was excited to see your message that you shared with us. I was like,
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
that is cool. So we're committed.
Yep.
7 weeks.
And
We're gonna
even
do this.
and even if you're not going to go to Workbench Con, it's in Atlanta. Even if you don't attend that, you can still, if you're in the area already, or if you want to make it worth your while, you could drive out to Atlanta and do other Atlanta stuff during the day, and then hang out in the hotel where we're all going to be anyway. There's going to be tons of makers there.
Or the Muppet Museum.
I'm not sure if I can go to that now.
What?
I don't. If I go without my kids, they're going to murder me.
Oh my god.
What museum is it?
It's a
No,
Muppet.
you don't
It's the Muppet Museum.
Oh, I didn't know that was there.
not go with you guys to that place. You're killing me, Smalls.
I know.
Come on.
I know.
Well, if they don't ask you if you went and you don't tell them that you went, then you
That's
technically
true.
haven't lied to them.
That's
They
true.
don't listen to the podcast, do
I
they?
didn't. No, I didn't promise it to them, so that's fair.
We just won't take any pictures.
Okay.
It'll be okay.
And all the exhibits rotate, so it could be totally different by the next time, right?
It is the coolest. It
don't
is the
spoil it.
coolest.
I'm mad I
Don't
didn't go.
spoil it.
I'm mad I didn't go last year or the last year.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was an amazing. I feel really bad for Nicole and Terry because I walked into that building and my head just exploded everywhere. It was gross. They were just covered. They were flaking bits of me like off the entire time cuz I just went crazy. I feel so bad for them.
It's a very strange metaphor.
It was there are very few things that I'd like geek out about super just like I can't contain how excited I am about because we're adults. You can compose yourself. Like you know how to do it. I walked into that place, I couldn't compose myself. Oh my gosh, my face hurt within the first 15 minutes cuz I need to stop smiling. Stop it. Just because it was so amazingly cool, just because of all of the like deep-seated emotions I have around Muppets and Jim Henson and Dark Crystal and like just everything. It was so fantastic.
Something I forgot to ask you guys: are you guys going solo to Workbench Con, or do you have any tag-alongs?
So, I live within drivable distance. It's about 6 hours from here in North Carolina. So the duo, when Geese Craft, are leaving from this area by car, and I'm going to be riding with them. So we're going to go
That's
down on
fantastic.
Wednesday.
That's a good car ride.
Yeah, it is. It should be good. And unfortunately, I've been told that I can't play Weird Al in the car, which is completely bananas. I don't know. Apparently, I set a precedent the last time I went to Workbench Con. I went with
You could sing it a cappella.
technically woodworking, he and his wife. And I introduced them to Weird Al, and they seemed to enjoy it at first, but now apparently it's a thing, so whatever.
Got to be known for something. My wife and I were looking into going together, but she is going to be going to visit family instead for her trip. So I'm going one direction, she's going the other. Not the same time, but just in short enough relatively to each other that we decided that I'll be solo for Workbench Con. Are you coming with the tag along, Sean?
No. I'll be doing my typical in and out really quick, simply because I don't think I can take additional time off. Yeah, in the ever-changing landscape that is my job right now and other responsibilities, yeah, I don't think so. I'm trying to see if I could fly out Wednesday night and take Thursday and Friday off of work. I can't guarantee that I'll be able to yet, though. I know I want to. It's one of the reasons why I haven't booked my plane ticket yet, is I'm trying to see what I'm going to be able to do.
We'll be
I need
there.
to make sure. Yeah, I need to make sure that I have some responsibilities taken care of, and there's no guarantee that I can get anybody to cover for me.
Mm.
So we'll see what happens.
It must be cool to be so indispensable.
No.
No, the only reason why I say that is because like I come from a position in an industry and a workforce where I was very dispensable. And like you are very indispensable, it seems, in everything that you do.
Yeah, it's only because nobody else wants to do it.
Well,
I mean, it's. I put a lot of this on myself, just because getting more involved and I don't. It's opportunities I don't like saying no to at times.
yeah.
But it's also tough because it starts limiting choice, which is something I've never wanted to do with my job. I stopped teaching English to lessen the workload, so I started teaching animation and computer science, which is great. But then I took on other responsibilities and had some placed upon me that I didn't really want. So it's, yeah.
Still,
Oh well.
you are a valuable asset. it seems, in everything that you do. That's kind of cool.
Well, I get paid for it, so at least there's that.
That does help.
Yeah, I'm not volunteering.
So, have you guys planned anything out beyond Workbench Con, or is everything just kind of focused in like tunnel vision these next 7 weeks? Get through it, get there, and then we'll figure everything out after that.
New Year's Day, we have a practice here at the house where we sit down, we write all of our goals for the year. And my kids did theirs, I did mine, my wife kind of did hers. And so I have a lot of what I want to accomplish this year written out, and there's probably about, between 10 and 20 things. And then I have them categorized too. So it's not necessarily a hard plan, but it's kind of like a checklist of things I know I want to accomplish, anywhere from travel to things that I want to do and make, things for the channel, business-wise, personal, all those things. So I've already tried to lay out a lot of what I want to accomplish this year, and then just a matter of trying to pick whatever one is most set up by priority, I guess, and go from there.
About US?
I haven't. Well, the only thing that is sort of on my mind beyond Workbench Con is in July. It'll be me and Catherine's 20th wedding anniversary. So we've been trying to do something or plan something that would be awesome for that, and that's gone across the gamut of different possibilities. One of the possibilities, apparently in Raleigh, the airport, they just opened up nonstop flights to Iceland from Raleigh, and it's like $500 a piece, which that's not bad. So we might do that at some point, probably in the fall, because for the Northern Lights stuff, you got to go when it's the darkest, and that's from fall into spring. And so,
yeah, because March is like the end of the season there, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's the tentative plan. Besides that, I don't really have any other plans. We're gonna go camping a lot with our camper, hopefully. It's almost like I'm a bit hesitant to lock my mind into different things because of how COVID has been in the last 6 months. In the summer you're like, oh, everything's fine, and then you're like, oh, just kidding. So like that sucked to have to like backpedal on all these ideas and stuff. And I'm almost at the point now where like I'll just plan it as if it's going to happen and just have more positive thoughts regarding all that. I watched a video. Oh crap, what's it called? It's called there's a YouTube channel called Townsend. Are you familiar with this channel? So it's a guy, he does like cooking stuff, but he does all their other like historical related content about living in the 18th century. And so he does like he dresses up like in the 18th century. They built like an actual cabin and stuff. And they do recipes from the time period cookbooks. So they're like trying to interpret like all these weird recipes. And it's pretty interesting. But he has like a lot of cool takes on like modern things, like viewed like through the lens of 18th century like history and stuff. And he had a really good video about where we are right now and his outlook on it, and it was pretty inspiring. And I think I'm going to try to adopt that philosophy. So if that's sort of a little bit of a geeking out tidbit there. If you guys
is he super skinny? Has like light or dirty blonde hair that
he's an older gentleman.
Okay, so not the same guy that I'm thinking of.
He's probably in his 50s or something like that. It's Townsend's is the YouTube channel. Anyways, I watched the video. I highly recommend it. I was going to link it out to you guys, but I totally forgot. Things came up. But it's good. It talks about a little bit more of like local contacts and how you like lean more on local people, and especially in times of crisis and stuff. But it could still be applied to online communities. He talked about that as well.
Send me the link when you have the chance.
Yeah, it's really good.
On.
It's definitely a good way to start the year off, especially in trying times. And he kind of uses a lot of examples and stuff back in the day of when they had uncertain things happen, how they dealt with them. So it's cool.
I have one thing on my list I'll share. And it's somewhat general, but it's something that is, I think, is a pretty good goal if I can hit it. And that's just doing 2 videos a month. Instead of worrying about like a weekly thing or putting the pressure on myself that way, I should be able to handle 2 a month based on the variety and the scope of the ones that I have planned. So I should be able to hit that. I have some of those goals written out. Hopefully I can follow up on those. Kind of like what Wes was saying, it's hard to make any definite plans because the changing landscape. So just having to be fluid with so many things. There was a lot of travel I had planned for last year that all kind of went out the window. In fact, I was supposed to go to Vegas on like December 27th. That got canceled too because of the weather. We had 5 days of rain straight, and then the route that we take to go to Vegas was snowed in. Well, we're not going to drive through that, so things change all the time right now.
Well, it's cool that you both had plans. I don't know if I've looked that far ahead. I always have a running list on my phone anytime I think of any kind of idea for a project or whatever. I always put it on my list. But everything for me, at least for right now, has kind of been just focused on these next 7 weeks.
I'm
like I said,
surprised. I thought you would have been somebody that plans further out.
Well, I did. I did for last year. The last couple months just kind of killed all my momentum. Before I started working for John and for Jess, there was about 3.5 weeks that everything just kind of came to a grinding halt, and it killed any momentum I had. I keep using that word, momentum, but it killed any momentum that I had, and so it was hard to figure out what was most immediate or what I could do or what I couldn't do. Trying to work within my own limitations and whatnot, and so I had to like replan everything. And now that I've replanned everything, I'm like cautiously taking, kind of like you were talking about, like travel plans and workbench con. Like there's that cautious optimism of, yes, I'm looking forward to these things, but what if something happens? And so I've planned out the next 7 weeks to see how the next 7 weeks go, and then once I have more of a solid footing and know that I've got a routine down and that things are working out the way they should and hopefully will work out, then I can move on from there. Because I can plan out the wazoo, but I suffer from hyperfixation, and so if I get into something or intrigued by something or plan on doing something, like my brain just like hyper fixates on it, and it's hard to like break away from something else until my brain finds something else to latch on to, and then I hyperfixate on that. And so one of the things that I'm trying to do is not be so scatterbrained and really try to hone my attention and focus on energy as to what needs to be done right now. So it's different for me because that's not how I'm used to operating or thinking, but it's been helpful.
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
I can relate to that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can probably relate to that.
Yeah. So I have my projects that I'm working on that I'm really excited about. I've got the work that I'm doing for John and Jess that's going like really well. I've got my secret project that is keeping me up at night. It's been really good. It's been really good.
What's coming out this year as far as media that you guys are looking forward to? Anything?
Top Gun 2. Top Gun Maverick.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, any of the Marvel stuff I'm always going to look forward to, but I don't necessarily want to say that I'm starting to feel like that Marvel saturation and not getting excited as much, but kind of feeling that way a little bit. I think I just need a little bit more variety in my diet.
Yeah.
It is a spice of life.
It is. Even so much that my wife and I have gone back and started watching old TV shows. And surprisingly enough, we went back and started watching like old Knight Rider episodes
Really?
and enjoying them. They're actually a lot better than I would have thought. In fact, we went back and watched the pilot, and like I didn't know that that was the basis for the entire show. I thought that was kind of cool. It's cheesy, of course, but it's been entertaining and changes things up a little bit. So just a little bit of variety. Looking forward to. How about you guys?
Honestly, I have not kept up with what is coming out aside from Top Gun, because that's been 2 years
It's
now.
delayed for 2 years, yeah.
We've been talking about that.
Yeah.
But I don't even know what's coming out. Like, what is coming out this year that we have to look forward to? There's the MCU stuff, but again, like you were saying, like the oversaturation, we know there's always something to expect within the MCU, but what else is out there?
You have Kenobi coming out from Star Wars on Disney Plus.
That could be cool. I'm excited about Hayden Christensen being in it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
We have
some
not
age
brought
will
up
do well.
Boba Fett at all, which is surprising.
It's really early. Yeah, it's the second episode has only been released, so it might be a little bit. Well, in my opinion, it might be too early to really talk about it too much.
Okay,
But it's out.
it's out.
It
Yeah.
exists.
Exists.
We never talked about Hawkeye.
We didn't. Did we? No?
No, but no, we
Oh,
didn't.
that's a shame.
We didn't because Sean had not seen the last episode yet. So
I've seen
we
it.
started to talk about it, and Sean was like, "I haven't seen it yet." I was like, "Okay." So do we want to move to geeking out about, and we can kind of talk about Hawkeye too?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it's about that time.
So Hawkeye, your thoughts?
So for anybody that has not seen it yet or hasn't seen the end, you might want to kind of pause right here or skip the next, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, because we are probably going to talk a few minor spoilers. I'm going to assume for some people. Okay, continue.
I really liked it. I liked it way more than I thought I was going to going into it. It might be one of my favorite ones, from like the dad and veteran kind of aspect that they kind of played on it. They really leaned in the humanity of his character, which has always been like a joke for a lot of people. Like how could a human possibly stand up to aliens and killer robots and all this stuff with all these other types of heroes with powers and abilities and technology and all this stuff? Like what could he possibly do? How is he invincible? Like how's he able to withstand it? Well, come to find out he's not. And you get to see like a lot of the repercussions of some of that stuff, which is really neat. And I loved the Daredevil like possible tie-ins with Kingpin. I'm not sure what's going on with Kingpin at the end. Apparently he's got like some super soldier serum or something going on. He's somewhat indestructible. I don't know, but Donovan's shaking his head. It was a little cheesy. The last episode was a little bit out of tone with the rest of the series, but it wasn't to the point where Donovan like warned me, like, "Oh, it's gonna be so cheese." I'm like, I didn't think it was like that much of an outlier.
I did not say cheese.
You said cringe.
I said cringe.
It wasn't that bad, but it was not. It was okay, but everything else on that series I really liked. I thought Kate Bishop did a good job. Yeah, I think they did a good job with how they built the universe and the story, and just the tone of it was like more lighthearted, with the Christmas kind of stuff going on, and like there's like cool surprises with like the PIM technology and like the trick arrows. I loved all the trick arrow stuff because that's sort of like a staple of his that they never even really talked about in the last 20 some movies, and now he gets to like really show the inventiveness and the creativity and just some of the off the wall comic book kind of related stuff, which is fun. And the costumes, yeah, I just liked a lot of it. How about you guys?
I think Hawkeye is in my top 3 of favorite MCU shows now, at least as far as like the series go. I think movies have to be judged a little bit differently, but as far as the series, I think Hawkeye is top 3. And I connected to it for a lot of the same reasons like you said you did, Wes, other than the veteran things. I can't make that connection. One of my favorite things with all superheroes, and this goes back quite a ways even from DC, is I love seeing heroes showing their scars and not really being indestructible, because it makes them more relatable. It makes them more interesting. I remember the first time I ever saw the Alex Ross painting of Batman's back. I thought that was fascinating. And if you haven't seen it, look it up. You can find pictures of it online. It's a squash painting of Batman's back that is just completely scarred, and like these trenches of of like looks like he was whipped. And I think it's fascinating because one, he's a human, and of course would have to take a beating and show scars, and that shows that. And the other one I really liked was it's a comic book series called Kingdom Come that Alex Ross also did, that shows the aging of Superman. I've always liked that concept, and I think that we get that with Hawkeye quite a bit. He's still able to do what he needs to do, but you definitely see the toll on his body, and I think that made the character just a lot more likable, and he's very much in touch with that limitation as well, and I think it just made for a great story.
Cool.
Donovan, go ahead. Go ahead. Saw your look.
I enjoyed Hawkeye up to the last episode. The last episode was so cringy for me. Oh my gosh.
It didn't have spiders though, right?
It felt like the entire episode had been written by 2 6-year-olds playing with Hawkeye toys, because it was so over the top in everything that happened. And how it's like, okay, and then Hawkeye, and they're going to be down on an ice skating rink, and then 1,000 bad guys are going to come, and they're going to be like shooting arrows, and none of the bad guys are going to shoot their things, and then there's going to be smoke everywhere, and then the smoke is going to clear, and there's going to be 6 guys on the ice, and like it was over the top for me. Like I love the tone, I love the storytelling and everything up to that last episode. That last episode was just.
I get the feeling that they were trying to balance emotions in that scene of not making it too overly serious, and that way, the whole scene with the tracksuits is somewhat lighthearted, but then you have the exchange between Yelena and Hawkeye that's a little bit more serious. I have a feeling that they were trying to play with emotional content and playing off of it.
Yeah,
they might have gone too far. The stuff with Kingpin, it was a little bit comical.
It was. The thing about MCU that I think hinders the MCU from going from good to great is it's like the Joss Whedon effect, is that everything has to be quippy. And so the MCU especially, like, they have these moments that are super serious and deep and heavy and great, and then they quip and it just kills it. And that last episode, like, there were moments where it's like, wow, okay, yeah, this is heavy, and then somebody quips and you're like, come on, really I mean, and that's like a signet of the MCU now. And the other thing, like, this is across all MCU, but I was like, oh, it's so funny that these 2 people that have literally killed hundreds of people and have caused millions of dollars in damage are going home for Christmas, while the one lady who was kind of involved in the death of somebody else is going to jail because she's the bad guy. And you're like, what are we teaching our kids?
I'm not convinced they killed anybody.
Mm-hmm. My son and I have had this discussion about Batman and Spider-Man because we're playing the Spider-Man game, and there are little things in the game where you can like disable the bad guys, where you thwip them up and then you'd like smack their head down on a beam and then wrap them in spiderweb and holding them up. And I'm like, okay, he would be dead. He would be dead. She would be dead. They're dead. They're dead. They're dead. Like, you have to realize in the real world, these people would be dead. And so it's so funny because we watched that episode and there were moments where my son was like, he's dead. He's dead. Yep, they're dead. Like, I'm training you well. Yes, they're dead.
Isn't that the nature of comics anyways?
I know. There's a levity that you have to, sustain when it comes to anything comic related, but
no. What I mean is you're talking about 2 different things. So when you're talking about the kind of like the difference of view of how heroes and the damage they cause are treated differently than like other characters in it, and you're talking about how many people they might have killed. Well, in the comic books, you could probably have the same scenario, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
So expecting the TV show to do anything different, I don't think is fair or realistic. But as far as your comment about it being quippy, I think that's the problem when you're trying to make shows for two audiences, for adults and for kids.
And
I think Pixar does a great job of balancing it. I don't think Marvel and a lot of other organizations have figured it out because they think, okay, we want the super serious stuff, we want stakes because adults are gonna relate to that, but we're afraid of making it too intense, so let's make it a little bit more lighthearted so the kids don't feel that same intensity possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the actual reasoning, but it could be part of the reason.
And honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't seen Spider-Man yet. Because I'm like, I don't want it to be just...
That's the nature of his character, though.
No. Like, quippy, like Joss Whedon quippy. Like, I specified
I don't think No Way Home is that style.
It's not?
No,
Okay.
I do not think it's that style.
Okay. I've heard a lot of people have liked it. I am going to see it. I will see it, I promise. But... and then we can talk about it. And I'll blow everybody away by saying I had no problems with it whatsoever. It was amazing. It was the greatest thing I'd ever seen.
That's right. I had problems with it, so I get to be the odd one out there.
Okay. So what are you guys geeking out about? Sean, Wes, you talked. Okay. We all covered Hawkeye. Any more thoughts?
But now specifically geeking out, I could go first. There is a game that I started playing over the last 4 or 5 days, and it is becoming dangerously close to an obsession.
Uh-oh.
And Donovan, I don't know if you mentioned this one before. It seems familiar, but it's called Kingdom 2 Crowns.
Yes, right?
I've had it on my wish list for a long time, and I pulled the trigger on it because it was on sale, the Steam winter sale, whatever.
Did you get Lost Lands and Northlands?
I got the whole collection.
Did? Oh, that is so cool.
And I bought 2 copies of it because now my son's playing it too. And I've had it for like 4 or 5 days, and I have like 25 hours into it. It's addictive. It's a pixel-based tower defense game. Is probably the best way I could describe it. And it's simply just side scrolling. The controls are very, very minimal, but it has a very, very strong strategy essence about it, and I love it. Although I feel like it could be solved like mathematically, but I don't quite have that down yet. But I'm loving it, and it's something I'm definitely geeking out about.
That is so cool.
And the pixel art is gorgeous.
Oh yeah, and the music is fantastic. And
yep, I got the soundtrack.
Yeah, so good. How many days have you gone through an era yet? Like, have you died, or are you still?
Oh yeah,
on your first
I
ring?
died like 6 or 7 times, but then I scrapped that and completely started over.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What was your longest run?
Without dying?
Yeah.
30 days or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
That's cool. It is a great game. It really is. I totally understand why you're geeking out about it because, yeah, that's a good game.
I need to pull myself away from it a little bit and actually work on a project.
We can talk strategy if you want to talk strategy.
Later.
Yeah.
What are you guys geeking out about?
Well, my son got a present for Christmas. He got a Xbox game. It's several years old now, but Injustice 2.
Love that game.
Yeah, he's a huge superhero fan, and I knew he would probably love that. I had never played the first one. I kind of fell out of favor of like fighting games in general for a while. I loved them as a kid, but never really played them for a while. And then we started getting into this, and we're both loving it. We're like leveling up different characters and like unlocking. There's like little boxes you get with like different gear and stuff for your characters, which probably make a minimal amount of difference. But it's just fun. Like the animations are really cool, and like some of this stuff is a little bit more teen oriented as far as content, but it's not that much worse than like a MCU movie or anything like that. So, and a lot of the super moves are pretty fantastic. The standout one, if you've played it, you're well aware, but there you can have the Flash as like your character, and his animation is awesome. So like you build up this little meter at the bottom, and once you get enough mana in it or energy in it, you can execute the super move, and he basically grabs the bad guy, the opponent, and runs through a portal, and it shows him like sprinting down this like road, and he slams their body into the Sphinx and knocks the Sphinx's nose off to explain why the Sphinx is missing the nose, and he grabs him again and goes the opposite direction and ends up in the Jurassic and like throws you into a T-Rex that's like in the middle of devouring some like giant dinosaur with like bones and blood and stuff, and like he roars at you as your body falls off, and he grabs you again, pulls you back into the portal, and then it shows the fighting like arena that you're in, and he's back in time before the Flash took you away, so your body is already standing there with the Flash, and you come in from the side, so now there's two Flashes and two opponents, and you throw the opponent into the other opponent, and they both like knock each other out at the same time and fall over. It's super hilarious and great. And then the Flash that had yet to leave grabs the corpse or the body and leaves. So it's sort of like this time travel, like essence kind of thing. It's really funny and really great. We've probably seen it like 40 times, and it's just as funny the 50th time. But it's great. The voice acting is really good. The animation's good. We got like the ultimate pack, so there's no additional stuff to buy or download.
The story's pretty good too.
The story's pretty good. Yeah. It's a little grim, especially
Is
at
that
the end.
the Gods Among Us?
Yes.
Is that the one?
Yeah, Superman's the bad guy, essentially, and yeah, he's still the bad guy, apparently. I guess they're maybe working on the third one. There hasn't been any release dates or anything like that, but I'm sort of looking forward to that now. Yeah, it's fun. Fun distraction. And it's something that he's more of a button masher. Obviously, he's 7, so that's to be expected. But he's getting some of like the Street Fighter type super moves, teaching him like quarter turn forward or back plus a button and like different things. We played Street Fighter a couple weeks before he got that game, so that's how I knew he would love it. So you gotta look a little gamer, fledgling gamer. And on New Year's Day, my next door neighbor came over. We played some games, and we played this game, and I swear my son whooped our tail like 8 games straight. He picked apparently there's a Ninja Turtle in this game, because there was like a DC crossover Batman thing that was on an animated movie or whatever, and so there's a Ninja Turtle that you can choose, and you can choose any of the 4, and there's a super move where basically you hit this one button and it charges in like 8 seconds. He can like call one of his other turtle brothers in, and they come in like Michelangelo skates in and like swipes you across the face with a skateboard, and then he's like high-fiving his buddy, runs off the page, and it's sort of like this constant tag team, and he just keeps like spamming the thing. You can't jump over the people. It's super cheap and hilarious. He was laughing the entire time, and we were like literally getting pissed off, like trying to beat him, trying to be a 7-year-old, and this is the start of it, I guess. What I get to look forward to. Yeah.
That's cool. Not a lot of people in the makerspace know this, but before I did Once Upon a Workbench, I had a science education channel on YouTube called Mind Sponge. And I was involved in the science education community back in the day with like Vsauce 1 and 2, Veritasium, people like that. And Vsauce 3, one of his videos came across my channel feed, and I haven't watched his stuff in a while. Over the last couple of years, he's done a series called Could You Survive the Movies, where he talks about the science of Top Gun is the one that, talking about Top Gun coming out. Top Gun, he did a video called Could You Survive Top Gun, and talked about the physics of G-forces and gravity and like everything that happens in that movie. And he's done it for Jurassic Park and Die Hard and Aliens and like all kinds of movies. It is fantastic. And so this past week I've been binge watching Vsauce 3 content. Kind of, it's amazing to see where he's grown into his content now. From back from when I knew him doing science education stuff. So it was really cool. I've been geeking out about his stuff. So if you haven't seen it and you like science and movie geek stuff, there's 3 Vsauce channels, Vsauce 1, 2, and 3. Vsauce 3 is Jake Roper, and he's the geek of the trio, and so a lot of his content is very video game or movie based. So it's perfect fodder for our audience, I think. So go check them out, Vsauce 3.
And some other people that you might want to check out are our patrons over at patreon.com/makinggeeks. You guys are awesome. You guys are always supporting us through your financial contributions every time we release an episode. And we greatly appreciate each and every one of you, including our top patrons. Seth is not one of them. You guys remember who they are? You have to know who they are by now.
Square Splinter.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Clint from 3D Prop Shop.
That is correct.
Jordan Ripple.
That is correct. Thank you guys for your support. We appreciate you. Pop quiz, hotshot.
Yep. We got it. We know.
We got it. We have a website. You can go to makinggeeks.com and you can send us a direct message about the show there on the contact page. If you have a suggestion for a topic or something you'd like to see or rather hear on the show, you can let us know there. On the homepage of the site, you can listen to all of our past episodes right there in your browser. And we also have a shop with some Making Geeks branded goods for you. So right there on makinggeeks.com.
One of the things that I am doing, one of my goals, I guess you could say, for the new year, is to be more social and to talk to people more. And so I've had some great conversations on my Instagram page with people that I follow and that follow me. So if you want to be talked to or talked about or talked of, you can come talk to me on my Instagram page at Once Upon a Workbench. Or if you want to talk to Sean, especially if you have strategy for Kingdom 2 Crowns, hit him up at Geek Builders. Or Wes, if you have stories, good or bad, about fiber optics or LEDs or the dangers of snow globes, go find him at Geeksmithing.
We'd like to thank everybody for hanging out with us in the live chat. Always makes for an even more fun experience, having that live conversation going on there and seeing people talk back and forth and contributing to the show when we record. And new episodes of the podcast can be found every Saturday morning on your favorite podcast player of choice. So from all of us to all of you, have a great week and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.